Good morning, and a very happy new year to all of our viewers. It is a lovely day today. We are starting over in Kenya with two grey-crowned cranes. My name is Kerry Dupree, and I'll be with you today here live at the waterhole. What a great way to start the show today. All these migratory birds are all over the place at the moment. I've seen some grey-crowned cranes also in Zimbabwe as well in Botswana. So lovely to see the grey-crowned cranes are also in Kenya. You know, we've got a lot of movement of migratory birds around at the moment. And it looks like these two cranes are giving themselves a nice little groom for the morning. They are in full breeding plumage and looking lovely. Isn't this wonderful? Check at these beautiful cranes. So they normally occur in pairs, although you can get big congregations of these birds together in big groups. I've seen even up to 20-30 individuals together. So the breeding pairs will join up into larger groups and join each other probably for safety reasons as well as for feeding purposes. It's so good to be back. Don't forget to send through your questions and comments. We're dying to hear from you. I'd love to hear what everyone's been up to over the festive season. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, and I hope you have an even better new year. This year is the year of the horse, or to be more specific, the fire horse, part of the Chinese zodiac. Or lunar Chinese New Year, which starts from February 17th, 2026 and runs until February 5th. And the reason or kind of meaning behind this fire horse year, so it is in Chinese astrology. Each year is linked to an animal sign or one of the 5 elements, being wood, fire, earth, metal and water. The horse is the 7th animal in the 12-year cycle. And this fire horse is known for freedom, independence, high energy, movement, and adventure. I like the last one. Always great to have some new adventures, and I hope that all of our viewers will have many incredible adventures ahead of them this year coming. What a lovely display we have here from these cranes. Some amazing birding that is happening across all of our different locations at the moment. Hopefully we get to see some other big birds that have been around. That's beautiful. I'm guessing there's probably some more of these cranes somewhere close by. Have a look at those red wattles. I love they've got very prominent colors on their faces. You can see those wattles, bit of a white facial, almost like a shield or a facial disc that they've got there. A little bit of a black fluffy bit on the front of their head, as well as that fluffy crane on the top of their head. We have some comments coming through. Banter Rat says, Happy New Year all. Thank you, Banter Rat, and a very happy New Year to you too. I hope everyone's New Year has started off marvelously. I know we've had lots of rain all across southern Africa, probably some of the heaviest rains we've had in at least the last 4 to 5 years. Great that we've had so much rain. I am back in a sunny Johannesburg, so it's nice to see some sunshine. I believe there's also been hail in Gauteng, so great to have some sunshine. We've got Janet Van Veek, 8759, says, Hi Kerry, great to hear you. Thank you, Janet, great to hear from you as well. Thank you for joining us. Melanistic Marble has sent through a comment. Kerry, a happy new year to you. Thank you, Melanistic Marble, and same to you. Wishing you all the best for this year to come. a quiet moment here while we watch these incredible birds. These birds are very busy today. Must have been lots of rainfall in Kenya. Maybe that's why they're busy grooming themselves, cleaning their feathers. Just a bit of an update from our locations. I was having a look-see, and I've been a bit busy traveling lately, so I haven't been following what's been going on the live shows, but yeah, seems like there's been leopards and lions across all the locations, so lots of activity here. Right, getting back to some of our comments. We've got a comment from Harry Lolly. Says Happy New Year, Kerry, MC and chatters from a hot and humid Cape Town. Harry Lolly, it must be extremely hot in Cape Town at the moment, I can imagine, so thank you for your New Year's wishes. Melanistic Marble says we've had a light dusting of snow overnight here in London, and drivers are stopping to take snaps of the pretty streets. Oh, Melanistic Marble, I can imagine those beautiful London streets dotted with white snow. Must be really pretty this time of year. What a magical time of the year it is. We're also in our green season here in Africa, in most countries in southern Africa, and it is beautiful. Just raining everywhere. We've got the cicadas are still calling, lots of crickets, lots of insects. We've also got lots of beautiful flowers out and about, as I mentioned, our migratory birds. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Oldonyo and see what large creatures have arrived at the waterhole over in Oldonyo. Ooh, who do we have here? This looks like one of our very impressive large tuskers that comes to this waterhole. I don't think it is 1 ton. His tusks don't look quite long enough. I know there's quite a few big elephant tuskers that we do have that frequent this waterhole. Melanistic Marble says it would be great to see crowned crane chicks. So Melanistic Marble, I've actually never seen crowned crane chicks before. If I'm not mistaken, I think they actually breed in Asia. So we only see them when they are visiting Africa during the non-breeding season. Oh, looks like our elephant bull has disappeared here. Penelope Kenyon says hello everyone and a happy new year from Penelope Kenyon. Catherine is also joining us saying hi Gwyn, Mika and Kerry. Thanks for joining us, Catherine. Seems like our big elephant bull has left us because he's not 1 ton that I can see. He looked a little bit, his tusks didn't look quite long enough, but I haven't seen 1 ton for quite some time, so I might be mistaken. Maybe he'll come back, but it does seem very much like 1 ton's behavior. Normally when 1 ton comes to the waterhole, he doesn't spend too much time before moving off. I wonder if any of our other elephants are going to come through. Some large birds of prey that we can find here at Oldonyo are the secretary birds. I wouldn't expect to see grey-crowned cranes here in Oldonyo, but yeah, more likely we have some chances of seeing secretary birds, which also have been a little bit absent from this waterhole. I haven't seen them for quite some time. What else can we have a look? Alrighty folks, let's head back to tortillas over in Kenya as well and see what those cranes are up to. These cranes always remind me of the green season, of the rains. My favorite time of the year to see these birds, of course, is when they come through in the rainy season. As I mentioned, the largest big flocks that I've seen coming through would probably be in Wangi National Park, Zimbabwe. You get huge flocks of 20, 30, maybe even 40 individuals moving together through these nice open grassland areas. Just magnificent to see their feathers. They have a very elaborate mating display as well. So the females will be dazzled by the males. Males open up their wings and hop about. Very unusual little hopping display dance that these birds engage in, and it's all to impress the females. It's just lovely. And then when the female sometimes actually joins in on this courtship display, so both of them will then stand together and court together. Dark Mane Lover says Happy New Year, Gwyn, Mika and Kerry. So good to hear your voice. Good to hear from you, Dark Mane Lover. Thank you very much. Penelope Kenyan says we haven't seen one ton for ages. Yes, Penelope Kenyan. So I'd love to hear from you, Penelope, if that was one ton that we saw earlier. I don't think it was quite a big enough bull. I know we've also got two other bulls that frequent the pan, Forklift and I can't remember what his friend's name, but there are two other big bulls that frequent the pan. So we've got a lovely message from Bush Bookie. He says, Happy New Year to everyone at Wild Earth, gearing up for an afternoon of tutoring English. Bush Bookie sounds busy. No rest for an international English teacher this festive season, but Wild Earth gets be vibing every time. Cannot wait to see all the good things this year. Thank you for joining us, Bush Bookie, and good luck with your English tutoring. Sounds like you are rather busy there. Got another comment from Jan in Bexhill. Says Happy New Year from England. Thank you for giving us a taste of Kenya, Africa on a cold and frosty morning. Yes, so it has been with this rainy season, the rainy weather. I've just been in Zimbabwe and Botswana camping. Normally I do not like camping in the rainy season. It's not the best time of year. Lots of insects, lots of rain, but we had a lovely rooftop tent that made it very comfortable and an actually incredible experience, because you get to be out there in the elements, experiencing the rain, the storms. It's just a special time of the year. We had lions around us, calling around us. We had some leopards calling close by, a big male leopard, and a herd of buffalo also came to join us. So it's just such a special time of the year, and I would love to ask our viewers, what is your favorite part of the rainy season? So my favorite part of the rainy season is that fresh smell, the smell of the first rains. It's one of my favorite smells. So we've got a comment from our Zumi that commented on the tusker that was at Oldonyo. Apparently it was not 1 ton. I thought so. I thought 1 ton's tusks were quite a lot thicker than that male, but might be a brother or an individual that has very similar shaped tusks. So thank you very much to our Zumi over in Oldonyo. He does have quite a strong resemblance to 1 ton. He's like 1 ton's doppelganger, I guess you can say. He's still got a bit of growing to do. I feel like his body size is also not quite big enough. Got another comment here from Snazzy Fries. Snazzy Fries says, Kerry's back. Thank you, Snazzy Fries. Very excited to be back. Just had a bit of a holiday, a bit of a break. But yeah, I'll be with you today and quite a few days next week. Monday to Thursday or Friday, I think I'll be with you next week. So very excited to see what we can find at the waterhole. Snazzy Fries says, great day. Yes, it does look like a nice sunny day over in Kenya. Looks like they're having a bit of a break from the rains, and these cranes are super busy. Have a look at their feathers. Isn't it incredible, their feathers? How well groomed. They must spend so much time. As you can see now, they're spending a lot of time grooming. They've got a lot more feathers than your usual cranes or storks. Lots of different colored feathers, so they do need to keep themselves in very good condition. Alrighty folks, we've got another big elephant that has arrived over in Oldonyo. So let's head back and see who is waiting for us. Getting some more comments coming through mentioning that the elephant bull we had earlier here definitely was not 1 ton, although I think it is 1 ton's doppelganger. We'll have to maybe give him a name so that he doesn't confuse us again. But yeah, thank you, Catherine. I believe that wasn't 1 ton that visited us earlier. We've got this lovely elephant bull that has a very interesting formation of his tusks. Shame, he looks like he's obviously broken his left tusk at some stage, but it's grown back pretty well. You can see it's very well worn. Elephants use their tusks so much while feeding. It's a very important manipulation tool or manipulative tool that they use while feeding in these open areas, while feeding on all these rough vegetation. Have a look at this guy. Isn't he impressive? It's very calm, very relaxed today. You can see it's probably quite a hot day in Oldonyo. I'm guessing there's lots of insects around. And I don't know if our viewers saw the other day, there's a very big elephant bull that visits Lentore. His name is Mzi, old Mzi. And yeah, he's an incredible old elephant bull. I don't think he has any tusks, and I don't think I've ever seen such a wrinkly old elephant. He's a very, very impressive old elephant bull that visits Lentore. I think I have only seen him once. He has very tattered ears as well. Shame, you can see that this elephant could tell many stories. Very humbling to be in the presence of such an old elephant like that. He must be definitely exceeded his life expectancy, that big old bull in Z. So yeah, just lovely to see these elephants at different locations and to be able to see these incredible old elephants that we would never see otherwise. So I asked our viewers earlier, I would love you to share with me what is your favorite part of the rainy season. I mentioned my favorite part of the rainy season are the first rains, that smell of the rain on the fresh of the dry soil. Catherine has commented her favorite part of the rainy season are all the insects and migratory birds are the best part of the rainy season. Mercedes Bean has also sent through a comment saying, yay, welcome back Kerry and greetings Wild Earth chatters. Happy Friday. Oh my goodness, is it Friday? Wow. 2nd of January 2026. Isn't that incredible? Wow. Time surely does fly. Snazzy Fries also has sent through a comment. Why do elephants drag their front on the ground? I think I guess you're meaning trunk. So sometimes elephants do drag their trunks on the ground, Snazzy Fries, and I actually love it when you find a nice piece of soft sand in front of you that you can get out and you can actually look and see the impression of the elephant's trunk that they drag on the ground. I'm not too sure. I think, some elephants' trunk can weigh anything between 8 to 15 kilograms. It's a lot of weight. Maybe they get tired of carrying their trunks and just get a little bit lazy, just like with us humans. Sometimes we might not walk, maybe like trip over things when you get a bit tired or a bit lazy, drag your feet as well. Kind of the same thing with elephants. So they might just be lazy. They might also be sniffing to smell what's happening on the ground. I've seen with forest elephants, as they move across water, they'll also put their trunk very close to the top of the water and also sniff and smell. So maybe they're trying to also pick up on some smells close to the ground. Oh, have a look what we have on the right here, folks. I think we have 2 Grant's gazelles. Might be a female on the right, but I'm pretty sure that's a male Grant's gazelle on the left. Look at those long. Oh. I think we had a minor challenge with our camera, so we've linked back to Tortillas Camp here in Kenya, which is a new location for me, so always excited to see some new locations that you haven't seen too often before. Snazzy Fries has sent through a bunch of comments. Apparently we've linked across because the cranes were possibly doing a bit of a mating display. So we'll keep an eye out on these cranes. I was just chatting about it earlier, the mating display of these cranes, very elaborate. Lovely to see them displaying. So we'll keep an eye out, see what they're doing. In the meantime, Snazzy Fries has sent through some comments. I think I've seen him. He looks like a very old elephant. Yes, Snazzy Fries, we were talking about the big elephant bull called Old Mzee. And he definitely is an old man. Wow. Probably one of the oldest elephants I have ever seen. Snazzy Fries also says that she's never seen an elephant that showed signs of aging so clearly. So yes, Snazzy Fries, with most elephants, I mean, the average lifespan of an elephant is between, on average, 50 years, maybe 55. I know there are some elephants to have recorded to live up to 60 or just under 60 years of age, but generally in the wild, most elephants will live up to about 50 to 55 years of age. But in Old Mzee, it'll be very interesting to have a look at those pearly white teeth of his and see how old he is, because he's quite an impressive old elephant bull.
Join me at Mabula Private Game Reserve from 6 to 11 May 2026 for a 5-night private safari for just 6 guests. Just incredibly exciting. Enjoy guided walks, take part in rhino conservation efforts, and explore Mabula's beautiful landscapes from open plains to rocky hills, alive with birds, animals, and vibrant plant life.
Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh! Whoa. This is action-packed.
My full name is Mpomu Tusitikani. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I went to camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, I'm very fast.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Can you hear that? wild is calling.
Which he showed me. So it's like a little shrew, tiny little rodent with a very long, almost elephant-like, almost like an elephant shrew, little, what would you call it? Almost like adapted nose. And yeah, very rare to see these little sengis, but would be great in order to be able to see a sengi. But I didn't see a sengi while I was in Kenya. I think you have to be very lucky. Wondering, these cranes, it's like every time you link away, then there's some action, and as soon as you link back to them, all of a sudden they are too busy grooming themselves. So these grey crown cranes are native to sub-Saharan Africa, anywhere from Uganda and Kenya into the north, or southern Africa, all the way through down to Zimbabwe in the south. So as you can see, they like to inhabit mixed wetlands or grassland areas, marshes and riverbanks. They'll normally feed on anything from seeds, grasses, grains, up to insects, and they love to eat frogs, worms, even small fish or snakes. So you can also find them in cultivated land. They'll be little maize or crop thieves and like to go and feed on the maize and millet or even soybean. So they're not necessarily a farmer's best friend, these birds, because they do like to raid crops. They are normally socially monogamous, so the cranes often form these long-lasting pair bonds. As we mentioned earlier, or saw earlier, they have that elaborate mating display between the males and females. So Mia has read my mind. We are praying that these cranes start their mating display again. It's very interesting watching their mating display with their bowing and bouncing little behavior that they have. So I'm just having a look here with these cranes. I thought that they possibly bred in Europe, but apparently these cranes breed in East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania and Rwanda. I did see some cranes while I was in Kenya. I won't say I saw huge flocks of cranes, but we did see a few pairs. Vimbai has commented, how do young birds learn dancing from the adults? And Vimbai, you are 100% correct. So the young birds will learn how to do this mating dancing display filled with bowing and bobbing and all kinds of wing flapping. They'll learn this display from the males, from the adults, by watching. That's why it's so important with some of these birds, why they occur in large family groups, in order to learn from each other. So the female will normally lay about 2 to 5 eggs. When the chicks hatch, they are precocial, so they can very quickly get up out of the nest, and they're fledged within about 8 to 14 weeks. unlike most cranes, they can actually perch and roost in trees for very long periods at a time, and that's because they have a very long hind toe. Alrighty folks, we'll keep an eye on these cranes, but while we do that, let's head across to Tau and see what else we can find out there today. We've got a little herd of waterbuck here at Tau. Oh, I love waterbucks, they're just super fluffy and cuddly. They form these small family groups. Oop, you can see the nice big male here. He's just turned around to show off his very fancy set of horns. I think one of the females, or the females, are probably in season. So waterbuck are quite special and unusual that they are not necessarily dependent on a specific season for breeding. They can actually breed any time of the year. As you can see, this male has 5 very pretty females with him, and he's not necessarily worried about what time of year they breed. They're always associated with water, so they do have the chance and ability to be able to breed any time of the year. Oh, we also have a zebra that has joined us. So Palesa has asked, how do they swim across deep rivers? So Palesa, waterbuck are also modified and adapted. So have a look at their fur compared to like the fur of this zebra here. So they're very shabby long coats, and they do have a specific liquid that is excreted from their skin to give them a bit of a waterproof layering. So yes, that does help them to live in areas which is very muddy and marshy, and they do often spend quite a bit of time in the water. Just like here at this waterhole at Tau, you can often see these waterbuck in the water feeding and munching away on some nice lush green vegetation, especially in the dry season when there is not much food available for them. They do take a chance. I mean, there's crocodiles around, but when the water level drops and there's not much, if the water's not deep enough, then crocodiles will generally stay away, because if crocodiles don't have deep waters to drag their prey into the water and suffocate them, they won't take a chance to mess with any prey species. Oh, we've got some elephants. So we've got one big elephant bull closer to us, and there's another bull just approaching in the distance. This bull in the distance looks like he's had a nice red muddy bath somewhere. So we've got a question here from Kwaku, is asking, why do only males have horns? So Kwaku, in some antelope species in Africa, both males and females might have horns, but in particular species like waterbuck, only the males have horns. In some species, like for oryx, for example, oryx need to be able to protect their young from predators, especially because they occur in very wide open spaces. They don't have much safety or protection. So that could be a reason why some antelope live in open areas, whereas waterbuck, they use the safety of the very thick marshy areas that they live in, and 2, generally waterbuck, if they're threatened, they'll run straight into the water, very similar like the behavior of kudu. So that could be some of the reasons why some antelope have long, or males have horns and females do not have horns. It could also be for territorial reasons why the males have these horns. So Vimbai, a good question. Vimbai is asking, how do females lead family groups? So Vimbai, it depends on which particular animal you're talking about. So for elephants, for example, the female, the matriarch, she is the one responsible for leading the family. She's normally the oldest individual within that family group, and she's the one that has a mental map of all the pathways that she's learned throughout her life. I mean, this is a big bull here, so we're not particularly talking about the bulls. These guys have their own mission, their own program. Generally the bulls are solitary. They might form little bachelor groups. They only really join up with the female breeding herds for mating or breeding purposes for a very short period of time, and then they'll move away from the female groups. But for antelope species, there's most antelope species, the male is the one that will lead and guide the herd, except for buffalo. Buffalo, the males hang out at the back, the big bulls. If in a big buffalo herd, the bulls will hang out at the back for protection. I mean, often lions will attack from behind, and the females will be up front and to lead the group. And again, often it will be those older females that have a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and have learnt from their grandmothers and their grandmothers' grandmothers all the pathways, all the safe feeding places, the water holes, and which areas they need to frequent to get suitable food. So Tafari is asking, how do bulls mark areas with their scent? So Tafari, very good question. We were just chatting earlier about elephants and their trunks and how sometimes they drag their trunks on the ground, and yes, it could be because they're lazy, but it also could be males trying to pick up scent of other males. So male elephants have quite a few different olfactory means of communication, especially marking their territory. So the big males, they will go into what's known as, you get some species like rhinos, for example, that will actively mark boundaries, the boundaries of their territories. But elephants have huge home ranges that they move across. They don't actively spend a lot of time marking these boundaries, but when elephants spend time rubbing up on trees or branches, wallowing at a waterhole, they are definitely bound to leave behind some of their scent. Male elephants, they also go through a phase or a period of must. Depending on the area, it can be anything between once to twice a year. Normally every 3 to 6 months they will go into this musk period where they excrete liquid from their temporal glands and also from their penile sheath, which does smell very strong. So if you're in the area of a male elephant, I'm sure a lot of our viewers are avid safari goers, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that very deep, strong elephant musk smell. It smells of strong urine, just a very urine-y kind of musky smell, and that can be smelled for up to a few kilometers. Also the dribble from their penile sheath can be picked up on the roads, smelled for hours after they have passed a particular area. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Lentor and see what birds are waiting for us. Ooh, have a look what we have here. I love Lentor. Lentor is such a great little birding spot. Oh, and we've got a humcop that looks like he's just caught himself a little mini snack. Could be feeding on maybe some dead insects on the top of the water here. We've also got some firefinches in the background. Could be our African firefinches. This location, Lentor, I must say, does put your birding skills to the test. My goodness, some of the birds that arrive here, even though I spent time in Kenya, which was on the Masai Mara, which is quite far away from Lentor. It's amazing how the birds vary, just from one area to another. Kenya has just blew my mind with the amount of birds that occur within that region. They've got an average of 2,200 bird species in Kenya. It's a very small country compared to South Africa, that we only have between 850 to maybe pushing it 900 bird species, and South Africa is almost double the size of Kenya. But Kenya has such a wealth of different habitats for all these birds. Lots of interesting different bird species, home ranges overlapping, and of course you've also got a lot of birds, forest birds from Uganda, for example, that just come across the border, same as from Tanzania. So at Nkewa, it's also really cool. There's a few birds that might only occur in Tanzania that cross over the border. Their habitats might change a bit, so you get all these incredible birds. I'm hoping this hammerkop will catch a frog for us. That would be great. It's got some comments. Masejo is asking, why dig holes with tusks for water? So Masejo, elephants dig holes for three reasons. One could be to uproot the roots of trees to get access to the roots. They'll also dig for water. Yes, very important for them to dig for water. And they will also dig for minerals and salts. Oh, we've got a red-billed aquilia here. Could be a northern grey-headed sparrows. Have a look, there's a male red-billed aquilia on the right. Very cool to see this aquilia. The females are a bit nondescript. They've just got that little red bill, but the males have that black shield across their face. Oh, and there's a cutthroat finch, folks, on the left. Look at this guy. Wow, I don't see cutthroat finches often. I think it's only the second time I've seen a cutthroat finch here at Lentori. Getting a bit distracted with the birds. Okay, let's go back to some of your questions. Dara has asked, how do rangers count water birds in wetlands? So Dara, it is quite a mission. It is difficult to do when you have your annual bird day count, so it is not always accurate. That's why with most figures when it comes to any wildlife, we always kind of guesstimate, or you just give an estimation, because it is quite difficult to count these birds, especially in wetland areas. Masejo is asking, are hummerkops water birds? So Masejo, hummerkops are always associated with water because they love frogs. So I'm pretty sure hummerkops have some sort of French descent because they love their frogs. So because of their diet, yes, hummerkops will always be associated with water. They have one of the largest nests of all birds for a single bird. I think the bird that beats this hummerkop is your sociable weaver. Sociable weavers make the largest nest of all birds in Africa, but my argument is it's not one solitary bird. I mean, some of these sociable weaver nests can be over 100 kilograms in weight and up to 3-4 meters in width and diameter, but it's for many different birds. I mean, the hummerkop is incredible because it's just a pair of birds, so it's not like thousands of birds all living in one nest. It's just a male and a female, and they make these incredibly large nests. Bantarat says a feathered Friday today. Yes, Bantarat, always good to get in some birding. I had quite a few good bird lists from my last trip in Zimbabwe and Botswana. So when I get a chance, I will upload them all onto eBird and probably share them with you. Had some great birding. Oh, look, there's a female. So let's see, male and female hummerkop. Wow, Mabula, I know at Mabula there's quite a few interesting hummerkop's nests. I know one of the hummerkop's nests at Mabula, who was it? I think it could have been Kelly. Kelly discovered that one of the nests had been used by an owl. So there's an owl that had moved into a nest of the hummerkop. So I know Egyptian geese will also utilize the nests of these hummerkops. Perfect nesting ground for them as well. So Sarah is asking, what's the prominent tree at Aldonio? So Sarah, a lot of the trees at Aldonio seem to be tortillus, your acacia tortillus, or Vachelia tortillus, your umbrella trees. They have that very prominent umbrella shape. I'd probably say that mostly acacias are your more common tree species that you'd find at most of your Kenyan locations. Yeah, at Aldonio, we have Lentori as well. So yeah, acacias are a very prominent tree species that you find in Kenya. So Ria is asking, how do chicks stay safe inside huge nests? So very good question, Ria. So the hole for these hummerkops' nests to get access into the nest is actually it's at the bottom of the nest. So that makes it very difficult for any predators like snakes or any other creatures to make their way through. So they don't actually put the hole. If it was at the top, it would be very easy for predators to access, but they make the hole at the bottom. Yeah, little African firefinches. Just so much cool birds. So Masejo is asking, why do birds breed in the rainy season? Okay, Masejo, I'll get to your question in a moment. In the meantime, let's head across to Founders and see what else is happening out there. Oh, look what we have here at Founders. A zebra with a very itchy side. This rock is a very good rubbing post. I've seen the rhinos too. They like to rub up on this rock, and right at the tip here where the zebra is using to scrub his face is where I've seen quite a few of the big male rhinos sharpening their horns on the tip of this rock. Or have itches. Imagine not having hands. It must be absolutely, I think I would go mad not being able to scratch yourself. That's why wild animals need to use logs and rocks and trees. Sometimes they use really interesting trees to scrub themselves. Like rhinos will sometimes straddle a small thin tree, push it over completely to scratch on their underbelly. So Ria was asking about why birds nest in the rainy season. Masejo was asking, why do birds nest in the rainy season? So Masejo, the reason that most of your birds will breed in the rainy season is because of the abundance of food. In the dry season, it is very difficult for birds to feed themselves. They kind of use a lot of energy trying to get the food that they need just to feed themselves. A lot of birds are also migrating, so that's why these migratory birds will always follow the rains and follow the insects that accompany the rains, because there's this abundance of flying insects, but also you've got your caterpillars. Because everything's green and lush, there's just such an incredible boom of insect life, and that is why most of your birds will be breeding in the rainy season. Not just for the insects, but also the fruit. There's just so much food available during the green season as opposed to in the dry season. So Nia is asking a question about our zebra. Nia is asking, how do stripes confuse lions during chase? So Nia, the defense mechanism that zebra have, obviously predators are colorblind, so they only see in black and white. And if any animals are being threatened by predators, they'll normally huddle together in a very, very tight group, and that kind of makes it difficult for predators to single out one individual. Our zebra is moving off very quickly here. This looks like a stallion. So yeah, they'll kind of huddle together, and those stripes all make it difficult for their predators to single out one individual. I saw quite a cool video the other day of a leopard trying to take a baby zebra. There's a female zebra crossing a waterhole, and this leopard was he had taken off a bit more than he could handle. This female zebra chased him away. So we've got a terrapin here on the left, and an Egyptian goose that looks like he's found his little pride rock marking his territory. We were just chatting about Egyptian geese earlier and how they are famously known for raiding other birds' nests. So Dara is asking, how do rangers count zebras in herds? So Dara, it's amazing what a good pair of binoculars can do. Again, in most places in Africa, national parks, you'll have, or private reserves, you'll have annual game counts which take place, or like your World Vulture Day, where from a certain time everyone at vulture restaurants across Africa or vulture feeding stations counsel the vulture. So you'll have these annual counts every year. Some private reserves maybe even do it twice a year, and again you need a very good pair of binoculars and a few people. Sometimes you even some private reserves will actually use helicopters to count these animals. Terrapin looks pretty happy in the water there. Talking about the water, I see Leon is back, and I saw he was drinking some fresh rainwater the other day from a little puddle. Leon is very brave. My immune system is not that strong. I don't think I would chance drinking some rainwater out of a puddle, but it is, yeah. I see Leon's also had some great luck. He was with the lions, the black dam lions that were feeding on a giraffe carcass in the mud. Just like this little terrapin enjoys being in the mud. They're mostly always associated with water as well. Shame, sometimes these terrapins actually get quite nasty little ticks, so they'll spend a lot of time in the water hoping that those ticks drop off. Quite a varied diet, but I'd say mostly what these terrapins feed on in these small pans is little fish. But they'll eat anything from fish, little crustaceans, insects, grubs, but mostly fish. So Ria's asking, will you ever go to Sandringham for a Wild Earth stint, Kerry? Ria, yes, that's actually my next stint. Fingers crossed, hopefully in, I can't remember if it's, I think it's March. I think it should be in Sandringham, so very excited to go and check out Sandringham and see everything that they have to offer, all the different lions and leopards in that area. Some birds, I'm dying to add some more birds to my list always. What else do we have here? Nope, just some more Egyptian geese. So I actually learned something interesting about Egyptian geese while I was on my last horseback safari.
We'll see you out on safari.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website. Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Looking at Egyptian goose, you would have your crowned eagle. Any of these larger big birds of prey would prey on smaller ducks, and generally when they go for these ducks, that eye will be a target spot. So that's good camouflage, form of camouflage for these Egyptian geese. So in the wild, these geese will often rest among reeds, grass and muddy banks, so the eye patch will help blend their faces into their surrounding, which in hopes that they will be less detected by larger birds of prey. The Egyptian geese are very territorial birds, as you can see. This is probably a male standing up on this mound. Alrighty folks, why don't we head back across to Tau, see what else is happening in South Africa. So lovely to watch this female waterbuck having a drink. And we was talking about ducks. We have some white-faced whistling ducks, 3 white-faced whistling ducks at the water's edge. So these waterbuck will be, they're quite specific in how they like, where they like to feed, but normally always associated with water. I know we had a question earlier about waterbuck and why they have this white ring around their bottom. So it is one of the most distinctive features of a waterbuck. In the divisive waterbuck, they don't have this ring, and they're a lot more, I'd say, tawny reddish color and absent of the ring. So it does serve several purposes in their survival. So it's a visual sign for herd coordination. So waterbuck obviously live in, I'd say, small to medium-sized herds, normally anything between 3 to 10 individuals, and the white ring does act as a bit of a high contrast marker that makes it easier for them to follow each other. It's also very good for predator evasion as a follow me sign. So when they get chased by any predators and the waterbuck start to run away, hopefully the young individuals or other waterbuck will then see this very prominent white ring and will then follow the individuals when fleeing. Alrighty folks, why don't we head back to Founder? It seems like there's some action heading in the Eastern Cape. Oh, talking about rhino, looks like we've got a rhino that has just joined us. And of course our Egyptian goose is still here, trying to steal some of the spotlight. Looks like a nice day in the Eastern Cape, looking nice and green. We've got some cloud build-up. So this time of the day, we're almost 12 o'clock. And it's perfect time for the big mammals to come down to the waterholes, have a bit of a cool down. As soon as it starts getting a bit hot, I mean, if you have a day that there's not too much rain out in the bush, I mean, now in southern Africa, I think the temperatures are probably averaging, when it's raining, or can get a bit chilly with the wind, but probably anything between about 10 to 35, 36 degrees. Because of the rain and all the wind around, it kind of keeps the temperature down a bit, but the humidity is still around. So with that humidity, that does mean it brings animals down to the waterhole to come for a bit of a mud wallow, cool themselves down, and as we spoke about earlier, protect their skin from the sun, remove some parasites, have a little rhino spa day. You see this little oxpecker sitting on this rhino's back here, also helping to remove all those unwanted little parasites like ticks. Seems to be a very popular spot under this tree, a tiny little bit of shade. So a lot of the rhinos, when they come to this waterhole after they've had a drink, then they move up under this tree, have a bit of a rub, and then have a rest in the shade. Melanistic marble, yes, always good to get some rhino action. These are our white rhinos, obviously occurring in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, and this is a perfect habitat for them because it's more open grassland area and perfect place for them to feed. The white rhinos are quite a lot larger than the black rhinos, and they have that very squared lip, and that's because they spend a lot of time with their head down grazing in these open areas. And as we can see here on his left ear, you can see a little ear notch. So that is part of the Rhodus ear notching system. So all rhinos in Africa are ear notched, and their DNA is collected so that if there should be a poaching incident anywhere and the DNA can be collected, or if you have an image of the ear, then hopefully you can be able to identify that particular individual and find out which reserve it came from. Thank goodness it seems like most of the reserves in South Africa, rhino poaching has been on the decline. It takes a lot of hard work and effort from all of these reserves, the anti-poaching teams, in order to protect these incredible creatures. So it's always a good sign when you see that the numbers of rhino poaching are decreasing. Shame, this poor rhino looks like it's been in a fight. He has a little bit of a weird tail, a bit of a wonky tail there. I think he's deciding what his next move is. He's thinking, am I going to scrub myself on this tree, or should I just lie down, have a rest? Shame. These rhinos spend a lot of their day eating, but a lot more of their day sleeping compared to that of black rhinos. Nice big male. So I've got a question here from Palisa, is asking, how do they eat grass with wide lips? So Palisa, white rhinos are quite fascinating with their lips, so they have specially adapted lips to feed on the grass. So they have this wide, flat, square lip, perfect for grazing large quantities of grass. So it almost works a bit like a scoop. So it allows them to crop the grass efficiently while walking through these open savannas. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Elephant Pan over in Botswana and see what is waiting for us. Wow, check at this place. My goodness, look at all of the water. As I mentioned earlier, folks, I've just done a trip through Zimbabwe and Botswana, and it is crazy to see the amount of rain that has been falling. In some areas, they've been receiving hundreds of mils within 24 hours. I was on the Nata River, and within a week, I think it must have easily rained between 300 to 400 mils just in a week. So if you can see here, also at Elephant Pan near Moremi Private Game Reserve or Kwai Concession, you can see all the rain that they've received. It has completely flooded the waterhole. So normally the water level is a lot lower than this. It's great to see so much water. I'm sure the elephants are super happy. So Masejo is asking, why do elephants touch bones of dead family? So Masejo, elephants have an incredible memory, probably one of the best memories of all land-living creatures, and they can remember individuals that used to be within their family group or that they have seen or met before. So they do kind of have a compassion or remorse for these individuals that they've lost. And in some cases, there's been elephant herds that have been recorded to staying around the bones of a lost family member for even up to 12 hours, 10-12 hours, just standing around and being very kind of placid and remorseful. So yeah, it's incredible. These elephants, they have such good memories, and the reason they have these good memories is so that they can move. Oh, look, we've got a hippo on the left there. So elephants have these incredibly large home ranges. I mean, some elephants within a few weeks can move thousands of kilometers. So they need to have these incredible memories to remember all the places they've been, the pathways, the waterholes, the grazing areas, areas they need to avoid, what trees and food they need to feed on, if they have any ailments. So yeah, they have amazing memories, these elephants. This nice big elephant bull. He's probably solitary by himself, and he's just enjoying the pan all to himself. So Ria is asking, why do elephants live up to 70 years? So Ria, generally elephants, depending on the area, I'd say the average lifespan of an elephant is around 60 Again, it is difficult to age elephants, but generally between 55 to 60 years is the average lifespan of an elephant. It is quite difficult to age elephants, but like that big elephant we were talking about earlier at Lentori, the old Guy, I'm sure that elephant is way over 60 years old, maybe close to 65. That's a very old elephant. And the way of aging elephants is obviously by their teeth. Elephants generally have at least 6 sets of teeth. In some very rare cases, they might have a 7th set, and how it works is in a bit of a conveyor belt system. So once one set of teeth is worn out, they move forward, drop out, and the next set erupts from underneath. And that is how you can tell the age of an elephant. So each set of teeth should last them to a certain point in their life. So once elephants lose all their teeth, that's when you know that they probably won't live too much longer, because it just becomes too difficult for them to feed. And at that last set of teeth, you know they are very close to probably 60 years of age. There's been a lot of studies done recently about elephants and aging of elephants. Elephant has an itchy foot. And keep your eyes out on the left. There's a hippo that keeps bobbing up and down. Look at this elephant. Isn't he lovely to watch? So if you were sitting at Elephant Pond right now, there is a lovely little swimming pool, a nice deck. They've also got a nice sandy fire pit area, and you'd probably be less than a few meters from where this elephant is right now. I can imagine, well, with all this rain, it smells very nice and wet. You can smell those mopani trees, the fresh rain. You'd also probably be hearing there's a lot of grey hornbills that fly through this camp. So I've actually stayed at this camp before. It's a beautiful camp. Lots of grey hornbills flying through the camp. You might have some woodhoopus. And if you are thinking of planning your next adventure for 2026, because being the year of the fire horse, it is the year of adventures and stepping out of your comfort zone, please feel free to go and check out the Wild Earth Travel website to book your next adventure with us. There's many different adventures across lots of different countries. I'm sure there'll be something waiting for you there, guided by the Wild Earth guides, of course. So Hillary has sent through a question. Hillary is asking, why do elephants trumpet when excited? So Hillary, just like humans, we all have our different sounds and noises that we make with excitement, with when we're happy, when we're excited, when we're anxious. Same with elephants. Elephants have different sounds that they make with different kinds of emotions, but obviously the trumpeting sound is often like a warning to other elephants to stay away. We spoke about all the infrasonic sounds that elephants do use, so most of the communication of elephants happens through this infrasonic sound that is not audible to human ears. So when you do hear them trumpeting, you know it's pretty serious. I always explain it's like when you have a little one and you've already threatened them once, you've threatened them twice and they have not listened, and then number 3 you raise your voice a bit, and that's the same with elephants. So they will often communicate like bulls fighting with each other. They've already been warning the other bulls with body language, infrasonic sound, and they haven't listened, so then all of a sudden then they need to vocalize themselves to chase the other individual away or assert their dominance. Same with primates like baboons. Look at this hippo. So great to see a hippo here. I don't think I've seen a hippo at Elephant Pond for a while, so you can tell the water level is obviously perfect for these hippos to move in. I have no idea where this hippo would come from. Maybe from Kwai Concession. There's not too many big water sources in this area, in this particular part of Botswana. It might have come from Moremi. I know they've got a river between Moremi Private Reserve and between Elephant Pond Camp, so maybe it came from the river. But always great to have some new visitors at the waterhole. Melanistic marble says beautiful, clean and even tusks. Yes, melanistic marble, during this time of year when there's lots of rain around, these elephants do have pearly white tusks cleaned by the rains. They often have different muddy colors to them as well, and just after the rains they have a very dark color to their skin. Nice and clean. Alrighty folks, our elephant has disappeared unfortunately, so let's head back across to Tau. So we've still got our female waterbuck here. She does not look like she's moved very far. And we've got a very nice male zebra also just on the left. And I think we've got some teals. These could be possibly Cape teals. Look at them, also grooming themselves, just like our grey-crowned cranes were earlier. These birds spend so much time grooming their feathers. And the zebra looks quite strange. Have a look. It looks like he lost his stripes on his legs. Have a look there. He's got barely any stripes on his legs. So Maisha just sent through a comment. Maisha from South Africa says, Kerry, delightful to watch elephants. Yes, it is always lovely to watch elephants. It's like a very good calming therapy. Gives you that zen moment. Looks like we've got a lot of these some sort of yellow daisies. I think it's a wild yellow daisy species that seem to like to grow in these open areas here at Tau. Again, only during the rainy season. So it's amazing how you have these species that grow, like flowers that will grow only during the rainy season. But in the Drakensberg here in South Africa, my goodness, even in the dry season in September, it's like autumn hits and all these flowers also start growing. I mean, yes, there are flower species that do grow out through the year, even in the dry season, but the abundance of flowers during this time of year is just mind-blowing. The zebra coming down to drink. So Melanistic Marble has sent through a comment. Kerry, rhinos are mascots for people like me dealing with thyroid disease. It is thanks to a rhino that thyroid glands were discovered. Oh, that's very interesting, Melanistic Marble. Thank you for that fun fact. I did not know that. It's very amazing how we can learn so much about humans by studying animals closer. It's amazing how much there is to learn, and we're still learning so much every day. I mean, we think we know a lot about our surroundings, wildlife, animals, trees, plants, but there's still so much more that we can learn out there. I think it's always good to get back to your primal state of, being dependent on what is around you, the plants, everything natural, trying to be as natural as possible, because there's so much in the herbs and plants around us that are a lot better for us than antibiotics and medications. I mean, it's always best to get things from its original source, just like these animals. So Catherine, unfortunately, is leaving us, but thank you for joining us, Catherine. Good to have you with us today. Oh, look at this waterbuck. She's enjoying the bit of shade being cast. I wonder, she doesn't seem to be too fazed about keeping up with the rest of the herd. I don't know where the rest of the waterbuck are. They might have moved off, but on many occasions they do hang around at the waterhole here most of the day. I mean, if you're a waterbuck, you don't really need to move too far. If you found a nice watery habitat that has availability of water and food. Very shabby coats. Look at that shabby coat of this female. So these female waterbuck, when they do give birth, as we mentioned, they'll give birth throughout the year. They don't have a specific breeding season, and they'll often give birth in very thick reeded vegetation to hide their little ones from any predators. They do also need to be quite careful when coming down to drink, these waterbuck, because crocodiles will often take a chance to go for their little ones. What is happening there? Have a look at the zebra. So this termite mound is probably very high in minerals and salts, and it looks like the zebra were giving it a good lick. You do see this quite often. Obviously, Sodak areas, any mineral spots are perfect animals. They also need their hydration. They need to stay hydrated. It's very hot and humid out there right now. They lose a lot of salts when they sweat, so they will also spend a lot of time seeking minerals, just like this old termite mound. That's a perfect little mineral block for them, getting their rehydration salts for the day. So Palessa's asking a question about gorillas, and you've asked the right person, good Palessa. So I spent a lot of time working in Congo in West Africa with the Western lowland gorillas, and Palessa's asking, why don't we get gorillas in Southern Africa? So Palessa, so your gorilla species will mostly occur in Central Africa, and it's because of the tropical rainforest environment that they need to occur in. I know in Zimbabwe, so we have an Eastern Highlands in Zimbabwe. I don't know if you've ever heard of Nyanga. And there was some talk, our National Parks Authority in Zimbabwe wanted to relocate some primates from DRC, including chimps, a few monkey species, and gorillas. But again, the research that was taken out just shows that even though it was a very dense forested environment, there's not enough food available for them. So again, it's all habitat. The food sources available. If there isn't the proper habitat and food source for these individuals, they'll very quickly die. I mean, gorillas, for example, Western lowland gorillas get 95% of their water actually comes from their food, and they mostly feed on the Marantesi plants as well as a very wide variety of fruits from the forest. So Western lowland gorillas feed on more fruit than your mountain gorillas, and if they don't have that fruit and the Marantesi plants, they wouldn't survive. Alrighty folks, well, let's go and have a look what's happening over in Kenya at Oldonyo. Oh wow, check at this folks, oh my goodness, it is a martial eagle. I haven't seen a martial eagle for so long. I actually had a complete mind blank, and for a moment I didn't even know what this bird was. But this is a martial eagle, and it's one of my favorite birds of prey because it's the easiest to identify. Doesn't it look like he's wearing pajama pants? It looks like he's wearing a white pajama pants with little Dalmatian spickles, and that is probably one of the most prominent features of this bird of prey. And it's my first martial eagle sighting on live at the waterhole. Isn't this cool to see a martial eagle here? He's probably come down for a drink. You can also see those very sharp, prominent yellow eyes. We were talking about big birds of prey earlier that might kill Egyptian geese, for example, and these martial eagles are specialist hunters for hunting smaller birds, ducks, and even primates. Look at this guy. Wow, this is super cool. What a sighting. So he's coming down for his midday little splish and splash. He also, birds don't sweat like us humans, so they need to mechanically cool themselves down by either estivation, which is when they open their bills and you often see their little tongues will move up and down. That's cooling themselves down. Oh, and a Grant's gazelle. My goodness, look at this, folks. Grant's gazelle and a martial eagle. Wow, so it's the same pair that was with us earlier. My goodness, this is rather exciting. You do not see this every day. Oh, Keto has sent through a comment. How do they spot prey from high in the sky? So Keto, these birds have incredible eyesight, so they can have the vision. Most eagles, big eagles, have very good vision, very good eyesight. They can see 9 times sharper than us humans, for example, which allows them to be able to spot their prey for kilometers away. Anything up to 2 kilometers away, they can spot their prey. They'll spend a lot of time hunting and soaring, swooping down at very high speeds, and then they'll ambush their prey. So their massive talons, you saw as he walked over the mud there, he has those massive talons, and that helps to deliver this crushing force in order to capture their prey. I mean, these eagles have quite an large wingspan, anything about 2 to 2.5 meters or over 8 feet, and they can weigh up to about 6 to 7 kilograms. How epic is this? So Masejo is asking, could this martial eagle grab a fully grown gazelle? So Masejo, no. Fully grown gazelle is a little bit too big for the martial eagle, but I mean, a martial eagle will definitely go for, so you get the martial eagle and your crowned eagle. So we're talking about the forest earlier. Crowned eagles will often hunt monkeys, and martial eagles and crowned eagles will both hunt your smaller antelope, like your little duikers. The gazelle is a little bit too big for a martial eagle to take down.
Full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have 2 boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my 2 boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Ria is asking, how long does the longest living bird live for? Well, Ria, it kind of depends. There are a lot of birds out there that can live 50 years or up to 70 years. But I think one of the albatrosses is considered probably one of the oldest living wild birds. But you get your African grey parrots can live up to 70 years. Your cockatoos also have a long lifespan, 60 to 70 years, as well as flamingos. But albatrosses have an incredible long lifespan. Macaws, but generally I feel like your parrots probably have the longest lifespan, anything between 80 to 100 years. But this particular individual, when we're talking about our martial eagle, the general or average lifespan of a martial eagle, very similar to the crowned eagle, would probably be between 12 to 15 years. But some individuals can live up to 20 years. It's amazing. But with these large birds of prey, it does take them quite a long time to sexually mature. In some individuals, up to 4 or 5 years just to sexually mature. So that's why they do have such a long lifespan. Obviously, in captivity, a lot of these longer or larger birds of prey have been recorded to live a bit longer, even up to 30 years. can see this Marshall eagle is now completely drenched, so he'll give himself a good bath, and then from here he'll probably move off and spend a lot of time preening and grooming himself. It's just like our grey-crowned cranes were doing earlier in the show. Oh, well, yeah, he looks a bit like a drowned cat there. Looks like a drowned rat. Oh. It's not every day you get to watch such an incredible apex predator bird like this have a bath. So Dara's asking, how do rangers protect raptors' nests? Dara, so it's a bit difficult to protect raptors' nests like your Marshall eagle, because they do nest in very tall trees up to 40-50 meters, a very high trees, so it can be difficult to protect their nest. But you can make, just like with vultures, you can make it a raptor safe zone, your reserves. Or if you know, so for example, any water hole or water source or a water trough. So like here, for example, this is quite a natural water hole. Animals and birds can get in and out. But if you have a water trough on your property, so in South Africa, if you want to be considered a vulture safe zone, there is a very long list of criteria that you need to maintain in order to become a vulture safe zone. We've still got our grouse gazelle in the right hand side there. So yeah, basically if you put normally sticks or logs, something in a water trough, so if you have an unnatural water trough, just put something in there, so that, I mean, these big birds of prey, they do need to come down to drink, they do need to come down to have a swim, so just make it a safe spot for them. Of course, you've got the power lines that have vulture safe friendly caps on the top, that also makes it a safe place for them. And of course, any feeding spots, if you feed any of the big birds of prey or any vulture restaurants, just make sure that meat is safe for them to actually consume, because lead poisoning is a very big problem in these large birds of prey. Isn't this epic? Look at that. The female Grant's gazelle is just to the left. Oh gosh. Wow. What a sighting. So of course, now with his feathers completely wet like this, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Off he goes. So he's not going to be able to fly very far. So my guess is he's probably flown somewhere close by, and he'll sit up in a tree and probably for the next 20 to 30 minutes clean those feathers of his. Wow. What a sighting. After he's cleaned himself, he'll probably sit up in the trees, and they'll sit for hours and hours and just scope out, watch to see what's happening, soar around, look for any predators, any other predators that might be out there, or prey species. Alrighty folks, why don't we head back across to Founders and see what our Egyptian geese are up to. We're back here at Founders. Have a look here. What are these Egyptian geese up to? Look like they're just happily sitting here. We were talking earlier about the habitat, or the kind of the behavior of these Egyptian geese to actually steal any young, in kind of like chick napping. They chick nap young individuals from other groups in order to help to protect their own individuals. Very, very cool. So this whole family is around here somewhere. There was also, I feel like, a grey heron that was sitting somewhere up on the tree here earlier. So we'll keep a lookout for our grey heron. Yep, there he is. He's blending into the tree. He's still sitting up there. So we've got a comment from Roz in George says, is it unusual for eagles to step into water? So no, Roz, most birds do spend quite a lot of time. Again, as we saw earlier at the beginning of the show, we were watching two magnificent grey-crowned cranes that were washing themselves or preening themselves. So yeah, birds need to keep their feathers in good condition, otherwise they're not able to fly. The minute any parasites or pests attach themselves to birds' feathers, they can very quickly start getting feathers that are damaged. They need to groom themselves a lot. And our grey heron is hiding. I don't think maybe he's having a camera shy day. Looks like a grey heron, and as we're talking about birds cleaning and preening themselves, he is doing the same thing. Oh, look at that crest. It's probably in full breeding plumage. Is it a grey heron, or it could be a black-headed heron? So yeah, it's not unusual at all to see a big bird of prey in the water, giving themselves a bit of a preen. Ah, there we go. It is a mature black-headed heron. So Sandile is asking a good question. Oh, look at this guy. Look at him. Isn't he pretty? He's got those little trail feathers. Sandile is asking, how are birds of prey adapted to carrying their prey during hunting? So Sandile, if you noticed with that martial eagle, they've got these incredible talons, their little toes and their incredible claws with long hooks on the ends, or long nails, those talons of theirs, and that's perfect for latching onto their prey, again causing a lot of damage. And when they fly away with their prey, they can carry their prey away as well. But as I mentioned with the martial eagle, I mean, if they catch a little baby antelope like an impala, often what they'll do is, I mean, a little impala can weigh anything between about 10 to 12 kilograms. They'll try and eat as much as they can of their kill on the ground before they take pieces away, and hope that they don't get raided by some other predators that might be in the area. So Palisa is asking, how do goslings swim right after hatching? So Palisa, you get different types of bird species. So you get precocial and arboreal bird species. Precocial bird species are birds that normally are ground nesting birds. They hatch, they are covered in feathers, and they are instantly able to start moving. They can see, their eyes are open, they can run within a few minutes, and in Egyptian geese they can swim. And your arboreal species are your species of birds that generally nest up in trees. So like your big raptors, your flycatchers, your weavers, all these birds that nest up in trees will have arboreal young, meaning that they are not able, they're born completely helpless, they're reliant on their parents for food, they normally can't see for the first couple of days, and they don't have feathers. So like our grey heron here, grey heron are normally, they nest in colonies, so big colonies in trees with other heron species. They'll even nest with, my goodness, I've seen storks. So storks and herons will all nest in these giant colonies together. My goodness, they make quite a racket, a lot of noise, and that's where they'll breed, and they need to protect their young. So it's just an adaptation, because if Egyptian geese were not able to move and swim as soon as they hatch, they would be taken out by predators. Oh, got some blessbok that have also joined us. Hopefully they'll come down for a drink as well. These Egyptian geese they're also cleaning themselves. Small herd of blessbok in the distance there. So again, blessbok, perfect species, antelope species that occur in these open grassland areas. So the Eastern Cape is perfect habitat for them. So we've got a question here from Masejo, is asking, is it true that Egyptian geese are spreading to new countries like Europe? So yes, Egyptian geese are spreading to new countries, including many European countries. They were originally native to sub-Saharan Africa, as well as the Nile Valley, but populations have established themselves far outside of their home ranges. Egyptian geese, as we mentioned, they are territorial birds. They do take over. And this female blessbok looks like she could be pregnant. I wonder, maybe she's a bit late in the season, but she hopefully should be dropping her little calf anytime soon. You can see on the front of her face here, so that male and female blessbok do both have horns. And as you can see on the front of her face here, she has got some pre-orbital glands. Alrighty folks, why don't we head across to Tau and see what else is happening out there today. So we've just linked across. We had a black-headed heron, and now we have a grey heron. So it's quite cool to see these two different species, one after each another. So you can see the difference between the two, because I know some people do get a bit confused. So if you see with this grey heron, he only has a small patch of black on the head, whereas the black-headed heron has quite, or more like, have a look there, he's got a stripe, black stripe. Whereas the black-headed heron has black from the front of his head all the way down onto his neck. And this heron is gula flapping. Have a look at him there. We spoke about earlier the mechanical ways that birds use to cool themselves down, and birds cannot sweat like we do to cool their body temperature down. So they'll often do this. They'll often gula flap with the mouth open, and it's a way of trying to cool themselves down. Oh, we also have some Egyptian geese, and looks like our teals that flew off. Lots of water lilies growing here at Tau, and interesting coloured water lilies. Have a look at these yellow water lilies. It seems to be quite a common species here in South Africa. I've seen them in Gauteng, the yellow water lilies, but otherwise, besides in South Africa, I've never seen yellow water lilies before. Looks like that Egyptian goose could be dabbling there in the water. He's got his head down. So we've got a question from Gray, is asking, why aren't all birds tree nesting birds? So Gray's, the reason not all birds are tree nesting birds is because some birds live on the ground, so it all depends on their habitat and where they like to live. I've got another question here from Ria, and Ria's asking, what is the difference between a goose and a duck? So the difference between a goose and a duck, so generally your geese are much larger in body size, ducks are smaller. Geese will also have long necks, whereas ducks have very short necks. I actually saw my first, I think they're called Indian running ducks, the other day, and my goodness, they are very unusual looking little creatures. They look like something happened to their wings, and they run upwards. Like, I feel like if there was an apocalypse of Indian running ducks that took over the world, it would be a very petrifying scene, because these things, they stand upright and they just run, but they don't have wings, so it's a very strange looking little creature thing. But anyways, some more differences between ducks and geese. Obviously geese are a lot larger. Some geese can weigh up to 12 kilograms. Some ducks are only weighing up to 3 kilograms. The necks we mentioned, geese have long, graceful necks. Ducks have very short necks. So there's quite a few differences. Also habitat, you might get different habitats. So geese will have flat bills, which is suitable for grazing and cropping grass, whereas ducks have shorter, more rounded bills, which is more adapted for dabbling, filtering water, or grazing aquatic plants. See, this heron is giving himself a bit of a scratch with his foot. Look at these guys, such a lovely little aquatic habitat for these birds here. Always a good indicator species when you see lots of water birds around. Oh, this is a crocodile. Something just, I feel like, no, maybe it's just a rock. I think it's just a rock. I was seeing things. Got another comment here from Hillbilly. Has sent through a comment. Welcome back, Kerry. Great to hear you your happy voice again. Thank you, Hillbilly. It is great to be back. Very excited to see what wildlife sightings are ahead of us over the next few weeks. What is happening? There's red-knobbed coot. Have a look here. Red-knobbed coot's just arrived. So many different water birds here. I'm always so curious. I mean, I've done many bird lists, but I would love to know if you sat at Tau for a whole morning and did like a 3-hour bird list, how many birds you would get. Or if you sat at Tau for the whole day, how many birds you would get. Or just an afternoon, I think you'd get a very impressive list. Ooh, what do we have there? Ah, impala. Hello. Looks like a herd of male impala. Ooh, some black-winged stilts. Yeah, looks like we've got 2 black-winged stilts here. They are also very unusual looking birds, but very cool. I love their call. Got a very cool little call, these black-winged stilts. What is our grey heron up to? Maybe he's decided he's going to hunt now? Okay, I've got the call here for a black-winged stilt that I'm going to play for you quickly. Shame our poor grey heron looks rather hot. So we've got a question from Keto. Keto is asking, why do herons stand still in the water while hunting fish? So Keto, that is all part of the heron's fishing or hunting strategy. So they'll move slowly through the water until they've spotted something, stand as still as they possibly can. They'll often bob their head from side to side. That's to help them triangulate the exact location of their prey. I mean, they have to also take in the fact that it's underneath the water, and then they strike with those very long necks of theirs. So that's why herons are so specially adapted to hunting fish. We've been chatting a lot today about adaptations and different species, and it's so amazing how these herons are also adapted to their habitat, long legs, long necks, especially for hunting fish. So if all creatures all fed on the same thing, there would be no food left for anything else. So that's why you've got different birds that have adapted to becoming different sizes with different features to survive in their habitat, but also to feed on different food types. Hillbilly, thank you for sending through your comment. Please don't be shy. Feel free to send through your comments and join us in any conversations. Thank you for sending through your first live comment on air. I'll be with you live at the Waterhole next week, I think from Monday to Thursday. So join in the chitter chatter. I'm going to be concocting some interesting topics that we can chat about for next week, but also if any of our viewers have any topics you would like us to discuss, you're always welcome to send them through to us. It's always great. Live at the Waterhole, I feel like it gives us a really good platform to have very in-depth wildlife conversations, share stories and opinions, chat about experiences. We all definitely learn a lot all the time from each other. I mean, yes, books are a very good source of reference for information, but practical experience and also having seen things practically also just bamboozles your mind a little bit to be like, wow, did that really just happen? Like our martial eagle that we just saw having a bit of a swim in Old Donyo. It's always great to see these amazing wildlife sightings here live at the waterhole from the comfort of your home. I'm going to find the call for a teal for you, and I'm going to play, because we've got some teals here. It looks like the Cape teals on the left, so I'm going to play a call for the Cape teal. This is a very unusual call of the Cape teal. I'm going to find the red-billed teal call. It's got a bit more of a prominent call. That was quite a strange call there. Let's listen to the call of the red-billed teal. I think we have Cape teals here. Oh, we've also got a shelled duck that has just come into screen on the right-hand side. So quite an unusual call. I know the yellow-billed duck has a very duck-like quack, but these teals, oh, they have very unusual calls. And our shelled ducks, I love seeing shelled ducks. My first time ever seeing shelled ducks was in Namibia. So they normally occur in pairs across sub-Saharan Africa, and they can occur in quite remote areas. So we've got some comments coming through here. Palisa is asking, do you have any wildlife related New Year's resolutions? Palisa, very good question. Well, I'm always keen to get more bird lifers and learn more about birds. I have a trip coming up to the Congo, so I'm very excited to get some new mammal lifers in the Congo, learn more about some forest species. But wildlife related resolutions, it's been quite interesting, Palisa, the last few years. Oh, hang on, what's happening with the ducks here? Alright. Shall we head across to Old Donyo, folks, and see what else is happening out there today? Oh, hello, look who we have here. This is one of our wonky tusked elephant friends. I have seen this guy before. Look at that unusual tusk that he has. My goodness. Wow, shame. He could have injured it during a fight. I mean, look at his ear. His ear is also pretty tattered and damaged there. So he could have injured his tusk canal or cavity during a fight with another individual, I would say. Look at this guy. So it must be quite difficult for him to feed as well. So yeah, he's probably has to do a bit of adapting to a new feeding style, because he's got that one tusk that is then crossing underneath his trunk. It does look very similar to a forest elephant. Forest elephants have very thin, spindly little tusks. He's also just cooling himself down. It's been a long, hot day. Great to cool yourself down in the mud. got a question from Ria. Ria's asking, do tracking colors affect animals like elephants in any way? Ria, so generally the collars that you have, so elephants normally have collars, of course rhinos will often have little ankle bracelets, predators will also have collars. I feel like elephants and rhinos would be your least animals affected by collars. A lot of research and studying has been put into making these collars as comfortable as possible so that they're not in the way, so they don't hinder the animal's ability to move. Generally, like the elephant collars, they normally fall off after a few years. Elephants are quite rough creatures, so they'll normally fall off. Rhino ankle bracelets will normally be changed. Obviously rhinos are very well monitored, so often the ankle bracelets or tracking devices will then be changed and removed. I think the most kind of sensitive you need to be around collars is with predators. So like with cheetah, this last year in Valvervonden, we had to change a collar of a female cheetah. She outgrew her collar, and they didn't want it to start hurting her in any way, so that's why they darted her, and we removed the collar and put on a bigger collar. So I think it's more your predators that you need to make sure that you replace those collars. But of course, if they are being tracked, then the researchers do a very good job of making sure that these collars are then replaced. I mean, with elephants, it's sometimes hard to find elephants if they doing some multi-country movements. It will be difficult to track down those elephants and remove the collars, but generally with predators they do try to keep those collars replaced and cycle them as often as they can. Normally within, some of the collars, the batteries can last between 4 to 6 months. They'll try and change those collars at least every year if possible. Off he goes. So Melanistic Marble was commenting on this big elephant bull, and yes, this boy has been around a lot. The tusk does curve underneath his trunk there, bit of a backward curve. I was just looking in my ID kit for the elephants that I have here at Oldonyo, and I don't see, I've got a wonky tusk, but I know the wonky tusk one we have written down has some grooves in his tusk.
My name is Amy, and behind the camera with me is Paul. And to be able to share it with all of you. Fingers crossed, and I'll make sure I wear my lucky leopard socks as well.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Would you like to know what an elephant's favorite food is? You could ask me questions like that in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive from the heart of Africa. The Fortunas over here. Watch Safari Live and connect with nature.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
So we've got a question from Theatu from Soweto is asking, are we allowed to eat elephant meat? Ooh, it depends on where it comes from. I mean, elephant meat is edible. It's very tough meat to eat, so if you're going to cook it in a stew, it needs to be cooked for quite a substantial amount of time, or as biltong, it is very tough. But as long as it's been legally purchased, you can eat elephant meat, but I would always be very skeptical of where that meat came from. It's the general consensus around any sort of bush meat or game meat. I mean, I know Checkers, there's a few brands that sell, what is the game meat that they sell? I don't know if they sell kudu, or there's some brands that you can buy game meat, or like ostrich. But yeah, always just be conscious of where that meat is coming from, as long as it was legally, I would probably say no, but I know in some African countries like Botswana and Zimbabwe, if there's an injured elephant, it might be shot and the meat would be then fed to the villagers. So in that case, it can be very good. But in Johannesburg, I feel like, or in Soweto, I don't think the meat would come from a legal source. So I'm going to say no on that one. Mr. Elemental says, thanks Kerry and Wild Earth crew for another great live at the waterhole. Please join us again, Elemental. Masejo also says, why do Ellies form large family groups? So Masejo, elephants are very social creatures and they love to be together as a family, and they form these large family groups. So during the dry season they form bigger groups normally than the rainy season. So in the dry season, my goodness, the biggest elephant herd that I've ever seen is in Zimbabwe. It's known as the presidential herd. They do move between Zimbabwe and Botswana, between Wangi National Park and Chobe National Park, and this herd can get up to 300-400 individuals. But then as soon as the rains arrive, they all scatter and distribute into smaller little herds. So yeah, when the water and food availability is limited, that's when you find elephants will then form larger herds, also for protection from lions. So Mariana H, thank you for your comment. Mariana says, hi Kerry, so glad you are on, appreciate your insight and knowledge. Thank you for joining us again. Like I mentioned, we all learn so much from each other every day, so please always feel free to send through comments. I know I might also not have all my facts 100% correct depending on the sources you find. So if any of our viewers have ever seen anything different, I'm always happy to learn from our viewers as well. We learn so much every day. Melanistic Marble says, I heard that story in a lodge in Botswana. An injured bull was down and the meat given to villagers. So yes, Melanistic Marble, as I mentioned, it does happen. Sometimes you call it, in Zimbabwe, we call it PAC, problem animal control. So maybe where you have animals that are injured, wounded, raiding crops, possibly start killing people. It does happen, and then the meat will sometimes be donated to the people of the villages, which is a very important food source. Alrighty folks, well, I hope everyone has a fabulous 2nd of January 2026. I've had a great day with you all, wishing you all the best for the new year, and I will see you next week live at the waterhole. We've had a great day today, lots of awesome sightings, my favorite being the Marshall eagle. We don't see that very often. So looking forward to what's coming ahead and what we're going to find next week. I think we'll just quietly watch the zebra to end off the show. Have a great day, folks, and an even better weekend. From me and the rest of the Wild Earth crew, I just want to say cheerio.